This week I'm hunting in southern Colorado on a ranch called Banded Peaks. We're about 2 hours outside of Durango. Now this is a 60,000 acre piece of property that's been under an extensive elk management program. It's completely unbelievable. This is the first time I've ever hunted elk with a bow, and I could sit here and tell you about how great this place is all day, but the footage speaks for itself. Sit back and enjoy the ride. So cool. That is a big one. Yeah, that's great. I tell you what, as soon as he started, I didn't know how big he was. And when he came out, that's when I started shaking. I'm like, holy cow, that's a good elk.
I got excited.
Yeah. Don't know what to say, but thank you.
You're welcome.
This is my first trip hunting at Banded Peaks. I've heard a lot about it. And I'll tell you what, it's everything everybody has bragged on. 60,000 acres, you guys obviously have a management program put in place because this is a magnificent bull. I've never taken an elk with my bow. It's the first time I've used the Blackout SS. And man, what a slam dunk. I mean, you worked your butt off for us, and it was just, even just listening to all these elk all around us bugling. We couldn't get anything in yesterday. We saw a couple of, young satellite bulls. This guy was obviously a surprise. You wanted to work these bottoms, and it just couldn't have worked out any better. I mean, this is a spectacular place, and appreciate your hard work. And I hope to bring a pile of people back with me next year, because this is just awesome. This is awesome. You guys have done a fantastic job. This bull is just, I couldn't ask for anything better than, I certainly didn't expect it. I like I said, shooting a bow for the first time, I was going to be pretty happy with anything you said, go ahead and take. And when he walked out,
there's no question.
I started getting the shakes as soon as he turned his head, and I saw these points on the side here and saw how wide he was. And I'm like, oh my goodness, do not screw this up, Wally. Hey, I'm sitting here with Randy Slaughter from Banded Peaks. And Randy, first of all, I can't thank you guys enough. This is my first trip up here. And, like I said in the opening of my show, the footage speaks for itself.
Right.
I was so impressed. I think the the first thing that impressed me driving through this ranch, getting up to this high camp, was there was no cattle. And I know you guys do an extensive management program for the elk and the mule deer. And from what I've seen here in the last couple of days, you're doing it right. Just, tell us a little bit about the history of this place. How much work has gone into it? How long have you been doing the management program? Because this place is the best elk hunting I've ever been to.
Well, I think, Wally, that the management program goes to the ownership. It's a family-owned ranch. It's 60,000 acres. We're bordered by, the wilderness on the back end of it. We get into some national forests on the far south end, but as far as the cattle go, and all that credit goes to the ownership. They don't want no cattle in here. It's strictly a family thing. They cut some hay. But other than that, it's, the blue ribbon trout stream that they take care of, the elk, the mule deer. They just have this place set aside for them. It's so unique that they're able to do that. We are privileged to be able to step in and do the hunting. I mean, that's total a privilege because, I don't know that they really care if it gets hunted or not, but they welcome it. They see that it helps the herd and the management of some elk, and it's a unique place. It truly is.
We need more people like that.
Absolutely.
That are stewards of the game and the land. You guys got a great staff. The food and the cooking up here has been unbelievable. I usually try to shave off a few pounds when I go hunting, but everything here it's a comfortable camp. And these guys, the guides, really know what they're doing, which, again, somebody who's been around the block a time or two, I could see right off the bat, you have a good staff here.
Well, and that is part of what we offer to, whether we're at the camps in New Mexico, whether at the ranches in Texas, and up here, that is a step that makes us, that's a direct reflection on us. Mm-hmm. Right up to, Frank and I, Brian Boyd and the whole crew, your people make you good.
Right.
So, Matt and Billy down at the low camp and the guides, my guides are like a wolf pack. Them guys are really good. And the thing about them is they love it.
Yeah.
As you know, it's not just a job. They thrive on it.
Yeah.
And we cycle through some guys every year. Some guys go, some new ones come. But I've got, my core, and they work hard. They try hard.
Oh, well, I mean, and there's no doubt about it. Like I said, I got lucky. We got done early, but I didn't want to sit around camp for the rest of the time. And Nevin took us out, and we got some unbelievable footage of some bulls coming in. So, you could tell it was like he could have packed up and went home if he wanted to, but he wanted to be out there as much as we did. Kind of explain a little bit, too. You've got a lower camp and an upper camp here. Kind of explain how what you're doing there.
Well, we've got the two camps. It's 60,000 acres. So we kind of divide the ranch in half. There's a little more at the upper camp as far as land goes just because of the location of the camp itself. But that works really well. I mean, we get guys that have hunted for years up at the upper camp, for years down at the lower camp. They just switch. It's like going to a whole new place. The topography is about the same. Gets a little rougher the more north you go, but it works well. It's kind of the same thing, but it's two different camps.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Randy, I cannot thank you enough.
Well, you're very welcome.
This has been such a treat. I grew up in Colorado. I grew up elk hunting and mule deer hunting. I got away from it, and had a lot of people tell me about this place. John Paul Morris, for one,
right,
who's a big bow hunter.
Right.
And when I told him I was coming out here, he just was bragging. He said, "You're going to get hooked." And to take one with the bow, it's my first elk with the bow, and the biggest elk,
a great elk with the bow
I've ever taken with the bow. And like I said, it's a treat. I've already texted the pictures out, and I have a pile of people that want to come back. I know space is limited here, but I can't think. You guys are a class act, and you've got something to be really proud of here.
I really appreciate that, and that's what we work for. We could take more hunters, but we don't.
Yeah.
and don't want to. We want to make it, you know, as a nice an opportunity and an experience for everybody. You know, like I said, the ownership gets a lot of the credit. When they hired Frank Sims and I, Rio Brazos Outfitters, to run their hunts for them, we did that, and thus from that came Banded Peak Ranch Outfitters. So we've marketed and supplied the ranch with its own label,
Right.
which is where Banded Peak comes from. So a lot of credit goes to them, and it's a lot of us working together to figure out what is the best thing we can do to showcase the ranch, and it's working.
Yeah.
It's working.
It really is. Well, thanks again.